Hello, my loves. Welcome to this episode. Today, I wanted to talk about being an introvert and creating content. So, if you don't know who I am, my name is Kylie. I am an astrologer. I'm also deeply intuitive, empathic, completely introverted, and I'm building my business online and with a little mixture of being in person. And I want to talk about the things that you can do to help you create content as someone who is more introverted, who has a fear of being seen. And I have a plethora of ideas and content ideas and ways you can build up your audience to actually suit your energy. If you know human design, I'm also a projector in human design, a 6-2 quad right. And so I love this work. I love bringing ideas and I love sharing ideas and I love helping people build their dreams and to show up as them in their authentic way to suit their energy. And I'm having many conversations and many readings around career, around purpose. How do I express myself? What do I create? And a lot of it comes down to self-trust and, cutting the noise of what it is that you need to do. There is so much noise in the online world and frankly of everyone, and it just seems to be that way of late where we are overloaded with so much opinions on how to do things. And this is sort of a episode where I want to talk about how you can create content that is suited for your energy so you can have like thriving community and thriving business to suit you and what it is that you're here to do. And so I'm also an astrologer, so I'm always going to bring this back to astrology as well because it's really helped me understand why I am so introverted and why I feel people so deeply. And that is part of the reason why I don't have a normal 9 to 5 job, or I don't, fully go and work in a shop 24/7 because I would frankly burn out. And I know many of you who have, strong sort of water moon signs and things like that. It can be really challenging to actually build something sustainable, especially when we have got so much noise. And so I've been playing around a lot lately. Well, actually a lot in the last, 7 to 8 years on creating content. And if I showed you my first video from way back when, it's a whole completely different person. And that's the journey of it. We can hold being an introvert and being an empath to keep us stuck on, what we want to create, or we can allow ourselves to be stretched and to have exposure therapy and to take messy action. And we have so much available to us right now. There is so much available to you right now. It is such a beautiful time and space to actually be alive and to create your dreams and create community and create wealth and create a business that actually inspires you and lights you up rather than following some sort of, trend. And it's just actually having the capacity to keep going until it takes. And, I've tried many different things. Writing, I probably spent a good 2 or 3 years just writing, and I, wrote a book and I wrote in a blog and I built like a Substack, and, it served its purpose. And this season of my life, I am feeling more available to actually be more seen in this kind of context. So it's so up to you on how you build things. So like if you want to start sharing your voice and you want to start expressing yourself, I really recommend even just starting with a voice podcast. It's just you, your voice, and you upload it to, whatever platform you want to. There's so many, like there's Substack you can have. Substack is really great because you can also voice record, video record, and you can write and you can build your community there. Whereas, things like YouTube, it's more of the voice and also more video than anything else. Instagram is more, the carousels and talking to camera. So it's just very dependent. Substack is probably a really great way if you're not in a season of life to actually, show up on video and it's too messy and it like really distorts your nervous system, because it's so important to be able to hold, what it is that you want. And so what I want to do, for an example, I'm going to bring up my birth chart with you, because I want to show you. Now I need to go and find it as we are talking. So this me scrolling right now. I just sort of want to make sure that my full name is taken off. There we go. So I hope you can see that. I'm going to trust that you can see that. I can't see myself on video whatsoever, so I'm just going to assume that maybe you can or you can't, but I'm still here. As we're just trying the new clunky things, like this is the process, right? I'm in the process, and so I'm going to share the process. So this is my birth chart, and I want to share with you how you can use this as a highly sensitive, creative, and an intuitive, introvert, someone who's a deep feeler that doesn't necessarily want to give all of their energy away to everything else. It's sort of like the time is for you to, build something that is sustainable. And so when I'm looking at a birth chart, now I obviously know myself very well. So, my moon is in Pisces, and that's a water sign. And the moon governs, 70-80% of our entire body. And so I can use that Piscean energy. I'm so attuned to how everyone else is feeling and what they're navigating, and I get lost in it sometimes. And I work with that. I used to look at it as something bad, but now I look at it as, it is a powerful placement to have. And I've learned the tools and the structure to support me. Okay, so I know my emotions are very important to me, my alone time, and to disconnect from other people is really important to my nervous system. So I'm going to build a business that is going to support me in that. That's why I am doing, mostly online. And then you will see here, so we're going to look at the 10th house as well. You will see the 10th house has the MC and the little key symbol there. The 10th house is of public recognition. It is a part of a career reading, and it's sort of how people are going to view and see you and how you naturally operate. So mine is Gemini in the 10th house. And so Gemini archetype is around the communicator, is the teacher. So having like a blog or a podcast or showing up in some way, shape or form, teaching something, sharing some wisdom about something. But having Chiron conjunct my midheaven, Chiron is the wounded healer. And so there's been a lot of wounding around being visible or wanting to be seen. So earlier in my childhood, I used to skip school every time that there was, public speaking or being in front of everyone. And now I've sort of spent the last decade really, really focusing on my visibility stuff and fear of being seen and getting it wrong. And, my words never landed, or I was, it was too clunky, it was too messy. And so that is a part of it. The third house is your house of communication. I have Pluto and I have Saturn there. So this is sort of, and it's ruled by Scorpio. So Scorpio is like the death doula. They want to dig and they want to excavate the truth, and they want to talk about things that are deep and meaningful and transformational. Saturn there, it's taken time. Saturn is the time karma. It is the mastery. And so knowing this about myself, I know that I have to really master my voice and my communication in order to sort of feel comfortable being seen and heard. When I'm looking at also the first house, that I use every aspect of my chart. It's not just one piece of the puzzle. It's all of it when I'm reading a chart. But these are the very few things. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. These are the very few things that can really help you in your birth chart to actually own your energy and what it is you're here to do and how it's best suited for you to create those things. Now, you know, full transparency is astrology is not designed to put you in a box. Astrology there is for your wisdom and for you to understand your gifts and also some of the things that have been keeping you stuck in not creating the moves. Like, we are not here for a long time. We are here for a long time, but you know, time is of the essence. And you can tell I have Mars on my first house. So, you know, we've got to take action on our dreams. We can't just continually wish that we were different or things were different or I felt different or, you know, I wish I was more fiery and more outgoing and more confident. Well, this is your opportunity to sort of look at where confidence has meaning for you. What does a confident woman look like? Who do you admire in the online world? And allowing them to, my cat's trying to get out, you can just see her in the back. She does this every single time I try and record content. She just, you know, cats and children and dogs have that opportune moment of when you're creating something that they like to sort of, okay, I want to be the center of attention now. But I want to, you know, as an introvert and someone who wants to create something, we have to understand that our feelings and our need for solitude and the desire for that has to outweigh the masks that we have or the way that, you know, we don't go after our dreams. We can see it as like, you know, a really heavy thing to hold, or we can start creating things for what we want. And so there are many different ways that you can create content. There's many different ways that you can show up for your dreams and for your purpose. And it's understanding what is more prominent in your chart. Puss, come on. She's scratching at the door. And see, this is sort of real time in building something. And I know most people would like edit this out, and this perfectionist wound that really, really comes up and stops us from creating. And this is where we get to create in the mess, in the imperfections of our soul and our life and what it is we want. So you just have to decide, okay, how do I want to experience my life and what action steps can I take and what can I build around that desired feeling? And so understanding how you work and what it is you want to create. It's like, do you want to create another job for yourself? Full-time job, yes, once we find our purpose and all of that. It does take consistency and it does take work. But the opportunity to be able to unplug more so than being on is really, really supportive. So there are so many different ways that you can create content as an introvert. Someone who is a deep feeler, someone who it struggles being visible and being seen. These things can really help. And it's, voice podcasts is a really great one. You can do written blogs. You can be on Instagram. You can be a little controversial in your opinions. And this is sort of the realm that I'm starting to play with a little bit more now, is starting to be a little bit more opinionated. I've sort of developed the skills enough to be able to show up like this and talk to a camera. And the next layer for me is actually starting to be a little bit more opinionated, to stand out a little bit more and to start gaining a little bit more traction as I'm slowly building. So find where your strengths are, find what feels comfortable, trust yourself, trust your intuition, and start developing things from that perspective, because that is what is going to help you create the content that is so suited for you. And it's a journey. It is a journey. There is never a destination in this, but it is a radical journey to creating the life of your dreams. So I hope this has helped. If you like this content, you want to see more of it, please make sure that you subscribe and follow along, because I'm going to be coming in a lot more and talking about creating as a highly sensitive and someone who also homeschools her children. So anyway, I'm going to leave that at that. It's raw, it's messy, this is life. There is no edits. It's just me having a conversation with you to help you see that there is so much potential out there. And being an introvert and someone who is highly sensitive, it doesn't cap you. It actually makes you that much more special.